Wrestlelost. Can you believe it? King Bad God. Oh. Woo-hoo. I see that, JR. It's triggered. It's Johnny. It's Drew. Can you believe it? It's going to be a slobber knocker. As they say, anything can happen on Wrestlelost. Welcome to Wrestlelost, folks.
Oh, yes, she's the dead here. It's the Wrestlelost Derby cast.
The sniper.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wrestlelost. As you can tell, we are down a man again. So Johnny had some family stuff to do. He said he might try and hop in later, but we'll see if that happens or not. So for this week, I'm covering the news. And I really only want to focus on two things here. So I'm going to start out with the surprise we got whenever we were just thinking it was a normal Monday. Nothing much is going on. We'll see what happens on Raw. And then we get the news that CM Punk was backstage at Raw. You never know what's going to happen with CM Punk. So him being there was a bit of a shock to myself as much as everybody else.
They were in Chicago.
Yes.
He has
yes.
friends on the roster. Why not?
They were in Chicago. But here's the thing, though. Many times before they have been in Chicago, and he has not set foot. He hasn't been around. So,
but that was when Vince was in charge.
True. But, Vince is still a question mark.
Yeah.
As we have said many times on here, just because of creative decisions that have been happening lately. And, even though he's off on tour as a additional member of the Eagles, because he seems to be following them on tour, he still does shit remotely and has control over a lot of stuff remotely. So I think that'll be an issue for quite a while. But supposedly he went to Raw to meet up with some friends, like you said, make amends with some people, because he had conversations with Lashley. He had conversations with The Miz, and the issues that he had with The Miz, they laid it all out there, cleared it up, and they're good now. Met with Tamina, and I'm pretty sure there was someone else, but I can't remember who. And then he ran into Triple H. And he said, "Hey, can we talk?" And that's when Triple H said, "I need to get clearance." Which is weird enough. You're Triple fucking H. Fuck Vince. Fuck getting clearance. But, that is his father-in-law. And
it depends on what he wants to talk about, too. If it's personal stuff, yeah, he can probably talk. But if it's business, he probably needs clearance.
Yeah. But this is where I find the problem to be. We don't know if it was personal. Well, I'm going to go as far as to say I'm 95% sure it was personal stuff. Because business-wise, AEW is starting a new show on Saturday night just for him. So I highly doubt at this point CM Punk would jump ship or
You never know.
look at opportunities elsewhere.
You never know.
Look, man, this show is as good as announced, with CM Punk being one of the guys, the main guy of that show. So I highly doubt he would look elsewhere. He has to be in agreement with Tony, and I don't think he would do Tony wrong again. But hey, it is CM Punk, and we saw what happened last time. So, but I would like to think he's learned some from what happened, and that he wouldn't do anything like that anymore. But yeah, so Triple H, what's up?
Oh no.
So Triple H goes to clear with Vince, and Vince straight said, "Get him the fuck out of there." He did you see the video with him and Tamina?
In the parking lot?
Yes.
Yeah.
So people, before I even watched that video, people were saying that he looked a bit aggravated. And it was a very short video. It was maybe all of 10 seconds. So it might have been just a natural reaction that he was having to who knows what. But just him throwing his arm up in the air like he just don't care. Yeah, it looked like he was a bit aggravated that everybody started saying this video was probably taken after he was thrown out by security. I don't know, man. If he went in there just to have normal conversations, I don't see the problem. Now, if he said something else to Triple H that we're not being told, and he had to relay that to Vince as to something he wanted to talk about, then I would understand. But if it was just personal shit, something they needed to hash out, which we all know him and Triple H don't have the best track record. So maybe he did want to just clear the air like he did with The Miz. So what do you think, man? Do you think he was just going in there trying to stir some shit up, or is he actually trying to do good?
I really don't know. There is no telling what he's trying to do.
Yeah. I could see how people could think that just because he's been a bit of a loose cannon at times. So who truly knows? I just don't think Vince should have made that call. If I was Triple H, I would have heard him out and then gotten the old man's thoughts once CM Punk was out the door.
Left. Yeah.
Yeah. Because Vince can't do shit to Triple H.
No.
At least not anymore, because he's onto a lesser role in WWE. And if some people are thinking, which is what I think as well, the first round of votes from Endeavor and their board, from everything that's been going on with Vince, I think he's out the door. They're just using him as a public figure right now until the ink dries, as they say. And once that happens, once the deal is fully made, Vince is out. So now that I've said that, have you heard about anything about CM Punk today?
Not today, no.
So people are starting to call this the CM Punk tour, because as of 30 minutes ago from when I read it, CM Punk is at the Impact tapings. And there are pictures of it to prove that he is there. So I haven't heard anything about him being thrown out of the Impact show. So I don't know exactly what he's doing there. Again, probably has friends. But
Maybe he's just going to run around to all of the promotions,
Mhm.
trying to make amends with everybody.
GCW's next.
New Japan.
Gonna show up somewhere in Japan. Well, no, they got that Cali show coming
Yeah.
up soon. So he might be at the Cali show. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. People are just calling this the CM Punk tour. But hey, you don't see Impact throwing him out. You don't see. I mean, I don't know where he's going to go next, but you don't see that happening right now. So, me personally, I would have heard him out, but maybe that's just me. Who knows? It's CM Punk. I would have been losing my shit if he was standing in front of me. So, who knows? Who knows how that would have gone? So, now to the other bit of news I want to talk about. And this is something that Andrew hasn't heard of yet. So, it's going to be a surprise to him as well.
Yay.
Not only during this week was there one more lawsuit against Vince and WWE, air quotes. There was two of them filed on the same day. The first one is against the ex-employee for, I guess you can call it unlawful termination. So from what I know, there's a lot of details that have yet to come out. So I'm just going to give you the quick version. Supposedly, she was let go from the company for taking, I believe, one of those WrestleMania chairs that are like specific to the event. Have the graphic on there with a bunch of the stars and all that shit. You know those chairs?
Yeah.
So supposedly she took one of those chairs whenever other employees were taking some as well. But yet her claim is that they targeted her and fired her for it. Which some people, you know, if that is the case, where they did fire her for taking one of these chairs when other people were taking them as well, when other employees were taking them, that's pretty fucked up.
It depends. Did the other people have permission beforehand, or and she just didn't bother to ask permission, or what?
That's one of those details that we would need to wait for it to come out. But even if she didn't like have direct permission from someone to take it, let's say you were working for WWE and not necessarily a higher up, but high enough to where you think you would feel comfortable to do that if you saw other people taking a chair, that you were either at a higher pay rate or the same pay rate as they were in the company. If you saw people doing it, would you feel comfortable doing it?
Probably not without
You want
permission.
the chair.
Probably not without permission. You know what I'm saying? It's like if they had permission and she didn't, it's still in company property, which is pretty much anywhere you go, fireable, isn't it? See, we don't know. So you're saying if you stole something at Walmart, they wouldn't fire you over that?
I am more valuable than you think.
Whatever. I know.
No, look, man. All I'm saying is, you see other people doing it. Wouldn't you feel comfortable doing it too?
But they let that.
Knowing that they can't reuse those chairs, that they're probably just gonna give them off anyway.
Well, maybe there's a certain set of people that they were giving those to.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna be completely honest. What show was it? I'm trying to think. I can't remember what show it was. Actually, I think it was Tables. No, not Tables, Ladders, and Chairs. I can't remember the show, but we were walking out and they were checking for like your ticket to see if you had access to take one of the like show branded chairs, and we did not. But for some reason, we ended up cutting through the floor to get out easier because you know Johnny and his situation.
Yeah.
So it was easier to cut that way to get him out of the arena. And I saw one of the chairs just sitting there, and I grabbed it, and I tried to walk out with it. But then the guy next to me was like, "Oh, you know they're checking ticket rights. And if you don't have the ticket to sit in that area, they're not going to let you walk out with it." And I'm like, fuck. And I let go of the chair. But best believe if I could have, I would have. I would have walked out with that chair if they weren't checking tickets.
Right.
All I'm saying is it's something that has happened that other people were doing. So
all I'm saying is maybe the other people had permission. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. And that's why I said like that's something we have to wait on to see if she had permission or not. She claims that she was unjustly targeted. So yeah, we're just gonna have to wait and see what they say about that. But boy, Vince just can't keep away from them lawsuits, huh? So here's the second.
Well, is that a Vince specific one, or is that one doesn't seem like Vince specific?
Well, she named Vince as the one targeting her. So
probably because he's just the head of the company.
Named him by name, so I think there would have to be something else there.
Maybe he's the one that fired her in person. I don't know.
Well, I mean, yes, probably. But that's just one of those where we're going to have to wait and see. Same as this second lawsuit, we're going to have to wait and see what other details comes out. But I'm going to read off a little bit here. According to court records, former WWE writer Brittany Abrahams filed a civil suit in the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of New York on April 24th. She is suing WWE and its staff for discriminatory treatment, harassment, hostile work environment, wrongful termination, unlawful retaliation against the plaintiff due to her race, color, and gender. But some of the other stuff that has come out now is that with this lawsuit, other information has come out as far as storylines that WWE wanted to do in the past. Specifically, Vince kind of planned storylines where the main one that has been named is he wanted to use someone in storyline as being responsible for 9/11. And that's how they were going to get heat on him and make the crowd boo him. Who knows where else this storyline would have gone? You have any ideas who they would use that storyline for?
Oh, good Lord.
I know that list is short in WWE. You could probably name them out. And you could name out a couple of names and probably get nailed this person.
Yeah, I probably could.
Yeah, because again, like I said, that list is short.
But he's done that before. Think back to the mid '80s.
Yes.
He used Iron Sheik, and he basically blamed him for all the Iran hostages in the early '80s.
Hear me out.
So Vince has done this before.
But this one specifically is in really bad taste.
Oh, you don't think the other one was?
You didn't let me finish. This one specifically is in really bad taste because you have someone in your company who lost her dad on 9/11. How do you think that person's going to feel if you have someone that's her peer running around in a storyline where they were the ones responsible for that shit? Obviously, he wasn't really responsible because the person, I'm going to give you another hint. The person this storyline was going to be for, at the time that 9/11 happened, this person was 5 years old.
Yeah. Ain't nobody in the company. Well, I'm not going to say in the company. Nobody on the current roster. Well, there might be 2 or 3 that were alive that were old enough to be considered part of the thing back then.
Yeah.
But
so, are you going to take a guess as to who? Or do you just want me to tell you?
I have 2 names.
Okay.
Mustafa Ali or Mansoor.
Mansoor. So they were going to put this storyline on Mansoor.
That's the worst thing they could have done.
Exactly.
Thank God somebody had common sense say no.
Yes.
And it was probably Triple H.
Probably. I don't know exactly when they were thinking of starting this storyline because Mansoor has been around for a little bit. He's been around for a couple of years. So
been around longer than that, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. So I don't know exactly when they planned on doing this shit, but still though. How do you think like the Saudi government would have taken this shit?
The Saudi contracts would have been canceled.
Exactly. So okay, I hate doing this, but I'm going to put myself in the Vince mentality in a way. Vince loves the Saudis. This has been public knowledge for a very long time because they pay a shit ton of money for WWE to go over there. So the ball, not only the balls on Vince to try and do this because of Zelina being on the roster and her losing her dad on 9/11, but if you love money that much, why would you risk it for running this dumbass storyline? I'm glad they didn't run with it because it is in very poor taste. Especially like because of the Zelina thing, but because this was a targeted attack on America. and you're in, and now I haven't said this before, but I'm gonna put this shit in air quotes. You're a so-called American. Do you think they would try and run any true American running a company would try and run that kind of a storyline directly linked to one of the darkest times in history for the US? It's fucked up.
Like I said many, many times,
It's fucked up, man.
this man's lost his damn mind years ago.
Yes. So I like fuck all of that bullshit. And I'm trying to see if I screenshotted this. I really hope I did. I'm going to take a quick look. The further I go in my... No, I don't think I did. But we don't need to know this person's name. I can look in my Twitter real quick because I know I made a post about it. So let me get over there real quick. Now access what I've done. Here we go. No, it's not on there either. I'm gonna have to find this guy's name, but I was watching The Listing Your Boy, which is one of the shows that Sean does on Wednesdays, and they were talking about a whole lot of different things, but running this storyline is one of the things they were talking about. And someone in the chat came through and said, it's been 20 plus years since the 9/11 attacks happened. Don't you think enough time has passed by to where we can make fun of it? And as soon as this person said that, everybody turned on him. Everybody in the chat. Sean put him in his place. I'm not sure if he banned him or not, but I'm like 95% sure he probably ended up doing it. What a stupid ass comment to make. To say that enough time has passed by to where we can make fun of the 9/11 attacks. It's fucking stupid if you think that way. And call me whatever you want. I think I mentioned this one time before on here. My birthday is on 9/11. And I'm not the guy to, like I said, want to make this about me, because it's not about me. There's more important shit that happened that day. There's more important people that lost their lives on that day. Who cares about my fucking birthday, that it was that day? All I'm going to say is, as someone whose birthday is on 9/11, it felt pretty shitty to see that happen. Because now, whenever I go anywhere or I'm in normal conversations with anybody and start getting to know people, and they're like, "Hey man, when's your birthday?" And I say 9/11, I get the same reaction every time. And that reaction is, "Oh." I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah, it's kind of like, dude, it's been 80 years since Pearl Harbor. We still don't make fun of that, do we?
Exactly.
That's been 80 years.
Yeah. So to be in that mentality as an American, to go in there into a chat room when we're talking about how fucked up it is, and to have the balls to say that shit, you might be an American, but that's fucked up to think that way. And that just goes to what I think about them trying to run this storyline. It's the fucking dumbest thing. And I'm glad they didn't go through with it. I'm glad someone had common sense. And this just goes to what I've said a lot of fuck Vince.
So, I know we got off topic here. So, what
Yeah.
what was that second lawsuit all about?
Well, the second lawsuit was about like racially driven storylines
Oh, okay.
and stuff they were planning.
So
Like-
she's suing for racially storylines that never happened.
Yeah, it's a little weird. But again, we don't know all the details.
But didn't you say terminate? Like because they fired her too? Is that what you said
Yeah, unlawful termination.
on the second one?
Yeah. So again, there's a lot of stuff we don't know.
And we don't know how long ago this was either.
Yeah.
This could have been 5 years ago when Triple H was still in NXT and had nothing to do with the main roster.
Yeah. That's why they're naming Vince on this. Because that probably dates it as to when he was trying to get this storyline going.
Yeah.
So it's not looking good for Vince, man. This week didn't help him any.
Dude, we just said it 6 months ago. He should just stay away, let his son-in-law run everything.
Exactly what needs to happen. But that's the opposite of what's happening. He's still in the ear of a lot of people in WWE. Which I fucking hate. Because until he is truly gone, this is the type of shit we're going to keep on getting.
Well, look at the bright side. It keeps our podcast on the air because we have shit to talk about.
But I'm pretty sure we would have other stuff to talk about.
Yeah, but our news segment wouldn't be as long.
Huh?
Our news segment wouldn't be as long.
True. But
Johnny would be out of the job. Oh,
no, he wouldn't be out of a job.
I know that.
We still need him for Stump the Brain.
Exactly.
And Vince wouldn't be the only news. There'd be more stuff. CM Punk is doing a pretty good job of keeping news and us talking a little bit. I just want the controversy to end already. I just want all this bullshit with Vince to go away.
Eventually it will.
Please. So, from what I'm hearing, the Endeavor deal should be signed before the year ends. Some people are saying maybe by October. September, October is when that deal is going to be set in stone. So, I hope as soon as that shit happens, Endeavor keeps in mind of everything that has happened and they fire his ass, vote him out, do whatever you need to do. So this necessarily wasn't the best news segment we have ever brought you, because it wasn't as informative because our normal news guy isn't here. We miss you, Johnny. But I think it was good enough. We covered the bases of the main news this week. So let CM Punk be. Let him do his thing. If he wants to come around your show because he has friends, other people have friends that go visit at other shows, at other companies. Mercedes just put up a picture where she's going to be at a show where she has supposedly bought a ticket, and she's like, who's going to come sit next to me?
I will. Oh.
Exactly. I said the same thing as soon as As soon as she said that shit, I'm like, man, I wish I could buy a ticket. I was about to tweet back and be like, oh, what section? What
What's your
row?
row?
What seat did you get? So I can specifically look for that one. But you just gotta let people realize that they are human and that they do have friends and that they're gonna be around other companies. And if said friends invited that person backstage, maybe look into who's in your company. I hate to point people out because I inadvertently just did, but it is what it is. What happened happened, and if you felt bad about him being there to where you had to kick him out, that's on you, man. The real insecure person there is Vince. So that's what I think about that. And yeah, fuck you and all your lawsuits, bro. You're scum of the earth, and you deserve to be put in the dirt. Let's just say it's. You're old enough, man. Can't you just die already?
78. I just looked it up. Or 77.
Old enough for me. So, and I promise this will be the end. We will trade Vince for Jerry Springer. R.I.P. Jerry Springer. we will take him back any day if they would take Vince. So, yeah, man, that's really all the news we had. So, now that we've gone through that, I'm going to go over to Drew and get his moment for WWE.
You're going to hate it.
Ah, fuck, man. Come on. All right, bring it. Bring it. Let me have it.
What was it, Raw? Yes, it was Raw.
Probably because I know who you're going to talk about.
No, I'm going to talk about Triple H and what he debuted on Raw.
Okay.
Well, it's supposed to be popping up.
Are you sure you added it?
There it is.
There it is.
Evidently, we got a new belt. It's WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And it's going to be on the whatever show is opposite of Roman Reigns. And it's going to be defended more often. So evidently it's going to be on Raw. Because we found out Friday Roman's been drafted to SmackDown. So I know a lot of people said they don't like this belt, the look of it. They don't like the belt, the idea of the belt, new belt altogether, but I don't mind it. So that was my moment, having a new belt. I've been asking for another belt on the other show for however long, and we finally got it. Well, we'll get a champion at Night of Champions at Saudi.
I do mind it. and for many different reasons. And one of the reasons is because up until this right here happened, you were saying that they should have split up Roman's belts. And he should have one, and someone should carry the other one. Cody Rhodes.
No.
Yes. Yes. I think, why would you make another belt when you have two perfectly good belts there?
I think it's because the other two belts look so much alike. Just the only difference is the color of the belt and the background of the. It was time for a change. Like when they introduced the new Intercontinental title, it was time for a change. When they just introduced this new United States title. It was time for a change. The Universal title just needs to. It had its run. It's time for him to go away. Then you have the WWE Championship and the World Heavyweight Championship.
So that means Roman would keep the red one, right?
The black belt with the
Okay.
and get rid of the blue belt and just keep the WWE Championship. But you still count the days because technically his 970 something days is tied to the blue belt.
Okay.
But you can keep that number on the black belt and have him get rid of. See what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
Because the blue belt is the one he took from Bray on SummerSlam 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's the one he has the 970 something days. The black belt is the one he took from Brock a year ago at WrestleMania.
Right. Go ahead.
And I want to talk about something else, but I don't know what your moment is. So
My moment is directly tied to the draft. So you can just go ahead and bring it up.
well, do your moment, and I'll say what I hated about the draft. There's only one part I hated.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and list off who both Raw and SmackDown got in the draft.
Is this including the supplemental draft that happened this morning?
Yes, this
Okay.
is everybody that was drafted. So Raw got Cody Rhodes, Becky Lynch, Gunther, Giovanni Vinci, Ludwig Kaiser, Matt Riddle, Drew McIntyre, The Miz, Shinsuke Nakamura, Indy Hartwell, Eric Ivar Valhalla, Dexter Lumis, Candice LeRae, Massey Mansoor, Maxine Dupree, Natalia, Apollo Crews, Sonya Deville, Chelsea Green, Zoe Stark, and JD McDonough. On the SmackDown side, they got Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, Solo Sikoa, Bianca Belair, Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins, Edge, Bobby Lashley, AJ Styles, Michin, Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, Bailey, Dakota Kai, Io Sky, Alba Fire, Isla Dawn, Top Dollar, Ashante Diadonis, B-Fab, and Lacey Evans. Here are my thoughts on the draft so far. I am excited for those people that are making the move from NXT onto main roster.
Yes.
That is my favorite part of this draft so far.
You drafting NXT. Yes.
Isla Dawn and Alba Fire
Yes.
are going to be great on the main roster. JD McDonough is going to be great on the main roster.
Indy Hartwell.
Yeah,
coming up
Indy
and
Hartwell.
being put with Dexter and Candice, and we assume Johnny's going to be drafted on Monday.
Johnny is going to have to be.
to Raw with them.
Yes.
We have the way again.
Yes, and with the way when they do them on the main roster here, it's going to be just them.
No Austin.
Yes. We don't need him anywhere near this right now.
No.
Because he is heel mode.
And they are face mode.
Exactly. Exactly. Apollo Crews, I'd have to see how they treat him coming back to the main roster.
It depends on what they do with him.
Yeah.
If they take him and put him in maybe the Hurt Business with Cedric and
that could be good.
Shelton.
Yeah. That could be good.
That could be a good faction.
Yeah. But if he just comes back up and it's just another comedy guy like they were doing before, it's not going to work for me.
Right.
So that's my only question coming out of this draft day one is I'm loving the NXT call-ups. Have my question mark about Apollo Crews And I think the only stupid part about the draft is
Raw's number one pick.
if
No, there's no if, ands, or buts.
If.
You do not.
There's an if.
You do not put Cody on the other show to go after the other belt. No. You
My-
have to keep him on
Wait a
SmackDown
second.
to finish the story with Roman.
Wait a second. Here's my if, and it's directly tied to this. My big if here is why Roman's technically on SmackDown, right?
Right.
Before the draft. So why isn't one of the rules of the draft is if he was like the champion on SmackDown, which is what he is, because that's what it used to be before he started randomly showing up on Raw.
Well, he showed up on Raw because he has both belts.
Yes.
So he's the champion of both.
But his main
Shows.
thing was SmackDown.
Right.
Raw to him was just like a secondary thing. He was always mainly tied to SmackDown. So, why not say, I know he's technically both champions, but why not just say, now that you have this new title, that's going to be the main title on Raw, why not just make the rule of, since they're going to have a new champion over there, you can't draft the champion of that show. That way, by default, Roman has to be on SmackDown. It's a wasted draft pick.
No, because he had both titles. If he got drafted to Raw, the new championship would have went to SmackDown.
I think that's just stupid.
But
Because the new
look at-
title was already announced for Raw.
no, he said whichever Roman show Roman goes to, the title's going to be on the other show, is what Triple H said. Whichever show Roman got drafted to, title is going over there. It's staying over there, and Roman's staying over there with those two belts. This new title is going to the opposite show. It's just like Bianca. She's the Raw Women's Champion drafted to SmackDown. So I'm assuming Rhea is going to be drafted to Raw, and they're just going to swap belts.
and okay, let's say they do that, right? Well, that's what's going to happen.
Because they did it last year with the Raw and SmackDown titles, or 2 years ago when I think it was the Street Profits and somebody else, and they just swapped titles.
It was the Usos, wasn't it?
I think so.
I think so.
But they just swapped titles. That's probably what's going to happen Monday.
And that was stupid then, and it's stupid now.
Now, my only question is, when are they going to separate the tag titles? Or are they?
Never. They're just going to introduce a new belt. Fucking A, man. They're just going to introduce a new set of tag belts.
Either that or they're going to two new belts. Because the only difference between these two are one's red, one's blue. Maybe you go with the WWE tag belt and a World Heavyweight tag belt.
Well, I'll tell you what they can't do. They can't split these titles now. Because then if you split these titles, everybody's going to be like, well, you could have split the other one. But no, you decided to make a new belt.
Right.
So either way, it looks a bit dumb. I don't know, man. Okay, so let's go back to.
Wouldn't it be funny if they did split the titles and they gave Sammy the Raw Championship and Kevin the SmackDown Championship, and they each had to find a new partner?
Each takes an Uso.
Yeah, each take an Uso. Sammy gets Jay and Kevin gets Jimmy, and they make their own teams.
Can you imagine Kevin having a tag with Jimmy? because
Too
you know
far.
Sammy would take Jay.
Yeah.
So that's so stupid still. I mean, it'd be funny, but it'd be that stupid kind of funny. Yeah, that's just the one thing I don't like. But okay, so let's say
So,
let's
so
go back to what Triple H said real quick about if Roman was drafted to Raw, then the other championship would go to SmackDown, right?
right.
So if you're gonna throw that out there, you have Raw take Roman, like you said, and you don't use that first pick on Cody.
But SmackDown had the first pick, and they took Roman.
I thought Raw had no. Didn't Raw have the first pick?
No, SmackDown had the first pick, and they took Cody. I mean Roman, because they were on SmackDown. Now Monday night on Raw, Raw's going to have the first pick.
A lot's happened. Look, man, a lot of news has broken ever since.
Yeah, and my point is with Cody. Don't put him on Raw where he can go for this other title and win it, because then it would be like a consolation prize for losing to Roman. You keep him on the same show as Roman so he can finish the story. If he goes after this other championship, he's not finishing the story.
Okay, so I got some comments to talk about here on our chat because Johnny's here, but he's under the WrestleLost account.
He's
and
on chat.
I had it over on the graphics because
So did I just
of
switched
that
it
picture
over.
and stuff, and I just switched over. So he said they need to speed up the sales process to fire Vince. Hell yes, agree. Then he said Roman is a spoiled little bitch. Agree.
Yeah.
And it's funny that RVD got to announce Riddle's name. Yeah, that was fucking greatness. But I just I see so many things that they could have perfected.
Because now everybody's going to be expecting Cody to be the inaugural champion for that belt.
Yeah.
Which we don't want, but then it's like, what was the point of this whole storyline with Roman? We know it wasn't finished. Now it's like it'll never be finished because they're on opposite freaking shows.
So it's a little too soon to tell because we have the better part of a year until next WrestleMania. But people are already saying somehow it goes full circle, and next WrestleMania they go Roman Cody again.
And then Roman wins the both belts again, and then we have the same situation.
Exactly. And the other problem there is we don't know what's going to happen between now and next WrestleMania. I'm gonna get a little bit serious here because this is real life shit that can happen. Either one of them could get injured between now and next WrestleMania, right?
Mm-hmm. A lot of things can happen between now and next WrestleMania.
Okay, and this is where I'm going to get real, because we have to think of this as something that could truly happen, even though this is worst case scenario, and it's something I wouldn't want to happen because of the seriousness of it. Roman is in remission. This news, the last time he got leukemia, came out of nowhere.
It could happen again.
Caught all of us by surprise. And that is the worst thing that could ever happen to anybody. Cancer. That is the worst thing that could happen to anybody. It could happen again. I don't want it to happen because that would be the third time he would have it. And he'd be running an even bigger risk. But that's just the reality of situations in life. and it's something that we have to think about. For
Oh.
WWE to think, oh, we can just do this a year from now, no problems. You can't guarantee that.
You know, though, I was thinking maybe we get a trade on Monday night and they trade Cody back to SmackDown. You never know. Because it's happened before.
Yeah. There's just so many different things that could happen in a year. But hey, we are where we are. We still have Monday night for the draft to continue. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens on Monday. I'm very curious to see what NXT call-ups happen that night.
Yeah.
Because there have to be more.
Right.
And I just hope we just get better clarification on some of these other situations.
And I'm looking to see the brackets for this tournament, for this championship.
Yes.
See who all's involved.
Yeah. Because I don't think they can set that bracket
until after the draft.
Yes.
Yes.
I would even set the bracket as soon as they do the last round.
Or they might debut it next Saturday on
maybe
Backlash.
Maybe. That would be a hell of a news to break.
Yeah, it could be on the pre-show.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Speaking of that new title, predictions on first champion.
Who? I mean, this is something that we've spoken about during the week. I think there's a couple of interesting and deserving champions.
I have two names.
Apart from Cody.
No, Cody, he better not win it or it'll be...
Apart from Cody. Okay, yeah. Who are your two names?
Seth freaking Rollins.
Okay, we agree on one.
Because he was the very first NXT champion. Why not be the first World Heavyweight Champion?
And I think I know who your next one's going to be.
Finn Balor. He was the first Universal Champion, and he never got a run because he broke his arm winning the title, and he had to relinquish it.
Yeah.
He had it for less than a day.
And he's never been the same since.
Right. And he's never
as far as his level of being up there in the main card. Right. Yeah.
He's never been main champion. Well, he went back to NXT and won it, but
yeah, but we nothing against NXT, but it's not the main roster.
Either one of those two win, I'm perfectly happy with.
All right. So yes, I agree with Finn Balor as well, but I have two names. One of them you already know, Seth Rollins, because we agree on that one. And even though he was Intercontinental Champion, I think Shinsuke Nakamura could be a very good first champion.
Yes.
And it would put more credibility back to his name because his name was dragged in the mud a little bit.
Yes. And he got drafted to Raw.
Yeah. So that is a very good possibility. He definitely needs to be in that tournament.
Yes.
So, yeah, we'll see what they decide to do with that. We still have to see what drafts happen on Raw and the following morning because there's probably going to be more supplemental picks. So, we'll see what happens there. So, now that we've gone through our moments for WWE, I'm going to go back to Andrew and get his moments for AEW.
Actually, I said I was going to do something else, but I'm going to do this one.
All right.
It's got to be the debut of Roderick Strong. It's got to be.
Yeah.
Cole's out there. He calls out Jericho. Jericho doesn't come out. He sends the JAS out, which is Magic Mike, Cool Hand Luke, and Garcia and Hager. They all beat him down. Then we have a Orange Cassidy and Bandito come out try to help. They could do it. And then we have it looked like SRS on the screen.
Yeah.
I was saying, Sean Rossap, what the hell? But no, it was R with the big S. Roderick Strong came out, cleared the ring. So Roderick Strong is all elite now, joining back up with his fellow Undisputed Era buddies, Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. But
Yeah.
Kyle still hurt, or is he coming back very soon?
He had fusion surgery, so it's gonna be a good while before he comes back.
Well, Adam was gone 9 months, so
Yeah. But until then, I mean, they could hold it down
yeah.
until he returns. And I would put them in the trios.
Oh yeah.
That would be a hell. And like have Undisputed Elite versus the Elite. Like, come the fuck on, man. Yeah. That is something that I want. And okay, here's the thing about Roderick Strong making his debut for AEW. And we spoke about this during our lunch breaks where we discuss a lot of shit. In 2023, where nothing is a secret anymore because of Twitter, Facebook, journalists like having connections in WWE and AEW, and them breaking news, this flew
Was a
under
shock.
the radar.
Yes,
This
it did.
was a true shock. Nobody knew about it. I'm gonna go ahead and say this, and this is putting a lot of praise on somebody, but this is well deserved to praise because he busts his ass and takes a lot of shit for the news he breaks. And you just said it. You just said his name, Sean Ross Sapp. Even he was like, I've been asking AEW, I've been asking WWE, I've been asking Marina Shafir. He's been talking to all his contacts, and nobody knew anything. Or at least that's the story that we're telling him. They did not know anything. Therefore, he did not know. And in 2023, from everything that breaks, this was the true surprise of the night.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a moment like this takes the moment of the week. No matter what moment I say, this was the true surprise of the week.
Although Tony Schiavone calling MJF a little prick was pretty good.
Yes. Did you see that tweet I sent you where someone
Yes.
drew
Yes, it was funny.
Tony Schiavone with the little prick and all that shit? They need to make that a shirt because I want it. And I spoke with this to Johnny. I don't think I spoke about this to you, but whatever AEW, there you go. Listen up, you prick. Whenever AEW comes through here next, that's my sign that I'm making. I'm printing that out and I'm putting it on the poster board. And if AEW doesn't make that shirt, I'm going to get that shirt made and I'm going to wear it to the show.
Well, we know they'll be back in December.
Definitely, but I don't want to wait till December.
I know, but
we need something between now and then.
I know.
I would
come through in December because Tony Khan has said winter's coming. It's always going to be in Garland.
Hell yes. So we know we're at least going to get them one time a year, but I want more than that.
Yes.
But yeah, that Roderick Strong coming into AEW, true shock and a fucking hell of a moment. I lost my shit. Not gonna lie.
I did too. It's like, oh shit, that's Roderick. Dang.
And especially you, because you're a big Undisputed Era guy.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
so are we, but you are like our main NXT Undisputed Era guy. So, yeah, we were all pleasantly shocked, but
Dude,
so was
that faction ran NXT Black and Gold for a
Yeah.
good 2 years.
yeah. And we still agree that splitting them up was a mistake.
Yes.
Like it was a true mistake to do that.
If they would have came to the main roster via the way the Shield did,
Yeah.
they could have done the same thing. The Shield did when they become up and became as big as they did so quick.
Can you just begin to imagine this? If Undisputed Era was to be able to be called up on the main roster the same time as the Shield was on the main roster, can you imagine Undisputed Era versus the Shield? That would have been fucking crazy.
Yep.
And
But
dare I
Roderick
say, go ahead.
Roderick's like the muscle.
Yeah.
Adam's like the architect, the leader. Seth.
Yeah.
Kyle's the scrappy, crazy one. Dean.
Yeah. it pairs up perfectly.
It does.
It pairs up perfectly. And okay, just because we're in that same time frame, like can you imagine a 3-way 9-man tag? The Shield, the Wyatts, and Undisputed Era. Fuck me.
Damn.
Dude. Fuck, they made like
Yeah.
it can't happen anymore.
No.
And even if everybody aligned and was in the same company at the same time,
We
we're
don't need
missing
them in
Brody.
the same. I know we're missing Brody, but we
So
don't
it
need them
won't
in the
be the
same
same.
company. I know, but we don't need them in the same company.
Yeah,
Open forbidden doors.
yeah, we wouldn't need them in the same company. Forbidden Door. Yeah, Kev. That would have been epic, dude. That would have been so fucking epic. I'm pissed off now that can't happen. Fuck.
So, is Bray going to be eligible Monday?
I don't
Do
know,
we know?
man.
Or do we even know?
No, we don't know nothing. As far as we know, the news they're still saying about Bray is still injured, still out with whatever illness he has. So unless if they're keeping that a total surprise as well, we don't know anything, and we don't know anything about Alexa either.
Yeah.
That's my other question. I have been going back and forth with a whole bunch of people, and everybody's like, either where's Bray and
Where's Alexa?
Alexa.
But, I want to talk about what we talked about at work a couple of weeks ago when we talked about the draft. What if those two together show up?
Get drafted?
No, they don't get drafted. They show up NXT.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying that.
Without Vince, because we know Vince doesn't like the Bray character.
Yeah.
But Sean loves it. Road Dogg loves it. They run NXT. Let them work with it.
And
He could do all kinds of crazy down there.
And if you do that, obviously Uncle Howdy's going to have to be over there as well. So that would mean they have Bo Dallas, which is fine. Because the reason they've been keeping him off of TV is because he's tied in with Bray Wyatt. So you can't use Bo Dallas either until he returns.
Right.
So, there's a lot of people missing just because of this. A lot of
So-
people that we like.
So just put those three. Well, if they showed up on NXT in a couple, 3 or 4 weeks,
And
months.
I'm gonna say here what I said to you as soon as you told me that. I'd be watching NXT
every week,
every
every
single
week.
Tuesday because you got my dude there. So I would have to watch NXT every Tuesday. Yeah, but we're gonna have to wait and see what happens on Raw
Yeah.
with the draft. So as far as my moment for AEW, it was an interesting choice to have Dax Harwood go up against Jeff Jarrett. And even though there was shenanigans, Jeff Jarrett got the win.
Hmm.
And this is at least this is what I'm hearing, that this is what Dax Harwood wanted to happen. This is how he wanted the match to go down. So I can't be too mad at it.
Well, you know what they're doing now. You could, because Jay Lethal beat Cash Wheeler
Yeah.
yesterday, so they're just setting up a tag match for the titles at, I guess, the next All Out or All In or whenever. They're setting up a tag title match.
Because it's all in and all out, I believe. Yeah. It's all in and then it's all out. So yeah, that is an interesting choice. And I know some people aren't liking it. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of it either, because I don't think Harwood should be losing to Jarrett. But hey,
But he didn't lose cleanly, so it's acceptable.
yeah, it is acceptable.
When there's shenanigans, it's always acceptable for somebody with better talent to lose because they didn't do it cleanly. So that's what makes these guys heels.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I just had to go with that because even though I didn't like it as much,
It's still a good match.
it was still a good match, and it's still a good story that they're running with. So I can't be too mad at it. So before we wrap up, I just have one more question for you. And it's going to be a real quick yes or no answer. A lot of people seem to think that this new title is like a consolation prize. You can't be Roman, so here, have this. Do you feel that's what it is?
Only if it goes to Cody.
Only if it goes to Cody?
Yes.
Okay.
Other than that, both shows need a title. Because
Yeah.
what's the point of having two shows if you're only going to have a title that's only there once a month? And when was the last time he wrestled on either show?
True.
He only wrestles at pay-per-views.
Yeah.
It's the Brock of 2018.
Yeah. Yeah, I can agree with that. And I feel the same way. If it goes to Cody, it is like that consolation prize type of thing. So let's just hope it doesn't go to him. So I'm just going to take a quick look at Twitter to make sure something else didn't happen. And no, it looks like we are good. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting day on Monday to see what happens with draft day 2. And even though we didn't like some of the stuff on day 1, it has the potential of being awesome because of NXT call-ups. And yeah, interested to see if they do anything with Bray, Alexa.
And there are some things we know that's probably going to happen. They might trade, like Rhea getting drafted to Smack Raw.
Yeah.
Since Bianca. And with Gunther going to Raw, one of the 3 in the triple threat match is going to go to SmackDown, and they'll probably win it with.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. So We're just going to have to wait and see how the rest of the draft happens. And we're going to have to come at y'all with that next weekend and see if anything else happens with CM Punk. If he decides to show up anywhere else. Because so far this week, he has been at Raw. And then tonight, he's in Impact, like we said. So, like always, if you have any questions or comments, WrestleLost@gmail.com, WrestleLost on Facebook, and don't forget to give us a follow here on Twitch and on our YouTube page because we'll be posting some stuff on there as well. So, enjoy. Hope everybody enjoys the rest of their weekend, and talk to y'all later.
Check you later.